So if you have any sort of EdShed subscription, you might have seen this already, but this is the teacher hub. So this is what it will look like from your point of view. And this is where we can access resources, see things like the groups that we've got our pupils in and any assignments. So assignments in EdShed is just any sort of work that we've set for the pupils. We call them assignments here. So first of all, I'll show you some of the resources that will come with the Spelling Shed subscription. And the Spelling Shed subscription includes not only our spelling scheme, but also our SPaG scheme, which goes from year 1 to year 6. The stages are the same as the year groups. So if we click on one of these, let's go for stage 1. Then in every year group, they'll then be separated into these 4 subcategories. So if we have a look at Word, what we've got at the top is something called question sets, which are quizzes. And then below these, we have got our teaching PowerPoints. So the idea is to teach one of our PowerPoints, and then you can set the quizzes for the pupils either as homework or something to do in class to practice that skill. So what I'll do first of all is just show you what one of our PowerPoints looks like. And if you'd like to get a free trial after this, anything with free next to it will be included. So this is one of our free PowerPoints. Okay, so if we open up our PowerPoint and then we can have a quick look at it. There we go, it's just taking a little while to open. So our SPaG scheme, you can teach in any order. Either, I know some teachers like to pick and choose things that go with the text maybe that you're studying at the moment, or you can start at Word and work through. So if I just share this screen. Okay, so here's one of our PowerPoints, just as an example. Now I'll play this one from the start and just show you a few different things and sort of the things that you can expect to see. So it will always start with the skill that you're focusing on. And here we've got spotting nouns. And sort of, you can use this as whole class teaching. And as we go on, you can see that there are some activities that you can use as individual activities as well. So things like this, for example, so you can do this as part of your whole class teaching, or maybe you could give this to pupils to do in groups or independently. And then again, something similar to this. So circling each noun in the phrases below, and then we've got the answers as well. So continually practicing all of the skills that we've got within this presentation. So once you've taught that, you might want to set the quiz, and I'll show you what one of those will look like. So we can also see from a pupil's point of view what it will look like to them. So that was our first lesson, which was identifying and defining nouns. So this is one of our free resources which can be accessed in the trial. So if we click on here, we can then play quiz, and we can also generate this as a worksheet as well. So if you're setting this as homework and not all children have devices, then you can easily print these off. So if we click play quiz, and I'll show you what this quiz will, so this is what the pupil will see. You can get it to read the question.
Find the noun. Select an answer below, yellow, table, or running.
And you can see some of them have slightly different structure, the way they're laid out and the way they've got different answers. Again, we've got multiple choice here. I'll just skip through. So the pupils get instant feedback after that to say whether they've got them correct or not, or what the correct answer is. Quite a lot of them have other pictures or sentence work depending on the skill that you are practicing or the skill that is focused for that lesson. So that's one of our SPaG quizzes. Now we've also got SPaG assessments. We've got 3 of them. So they are designed for end of term. And what the end of term assessments do is there's a question on every single objective, which is why it doesn't matter the order that you teach this in, because what you'd expect is the children to start with a low score, and then as they cover more objectives in class, they'll then start to get a higher score as they get more confident and cover the more objectives. So if we just go back, so these are our SPaG resources. So if we then take a look at our spelling PowerPoints, I'll have a look and see if anyone's written in the chat or Q&A in a moment. I'll just focus on this for a sec. Now, again, our spelling resources, our spelling scheme goes from year 1 to year 6. So if we click on a year group, let's go for a Key Stage 2 one this time. You can also see there's a shortcut to the SPaG resources there. They are the same as what we just visited. It's just another way to get to them. So for our spelling scheme, we have our resources, which are the teaching PowerPoints below. And you can download the full scheme in one, or the overview if you want, or lesson by lesson. So if we just start with lesson 1, again, this is a free resources. So if you have the trial, you can have a look at this, and the trials automatically stop after 30 days for a school or teacher. So you don't need to worry about payment being taken. Okay, so this is what they look like. So at the beginning, you have a very brief lesson plan, which is always handy, particularly if you have many different spelling groups and children going out with different adults. And then we've got our spelling list for this week there. And again, like the SPaG PowerPoint, you can use this how you want. Obviously, there's an outline there. So we've got our main teaching and then an independent activity. So these might be sort of teacher talk time here. So if I show you this one, then we can have quite a good look. So which is the correct spelling? And then it gives the answers as well. So I'll just go through some of these. So these are sort of as you're getting used to the spellings and the words in the list with the pupils. You might also want to talk about the sound that we're focusing on this week, if there is a particular sound. Some of them might be challenge words, which are the same as high frequency words, so might not have a particular sound. And then we've got a very traditional sort of spelling practice grid that you might want to print off for pupils, as well as the independent activity here. So writing the correct spelling into each sentence. They're also getting a bit of a practice of the meaning of the word and using it within the context. And then we've got our answers there. So what the idea is with this is there's enough to teach one lesson per week in the school year. And then once you've taught your spelling lesson, then you're going to set the word list for pupils to practice. So as I mentioned before, this is something we call an assignment, which you can set here in this page. I've already set a similar type of word list as an assignment. So what I'll do is I'll show you what that looks like from a pupil's point of view now. What I'll do is I'll log in with our test pupil. Now with assignments, you have got the option, if you want to, when you set them from the teacher side, it's called limit lists. And this means that you can limit what the child has access to depending on what's suitable for your class. So if I click into Spelling Shed, I've got 2 assignments here. I have got a word list and I've also got a SPaG quiz. Now I've also got things I can click on here. So if you limit lists, the pupils are not able to click on these. So we've got buzz, which is a similar word to boggle, which isn't to do with a specific word list, but it's just an extra game. They also have access to all of the SPaG quizzes, which again, you can limit that if you wanted to, as well as all of the schemes. So it's quite clear to me as the pupil, which are my 2 assignments that have been set for me by the teacher, but it's up to you whether you want the pupil to have full access to everything or whether you just want them to have access to the work that you've set, because that's something that you can do. So if we click on our word list that we've been set, we also have play, we have a Hive game, which I'll come to in a moment, and we also have bonus games. Now, these will be based on this spelling list. So we have matching the words with the definitions. So these will be the words in my spelling lists. Can you spell the missing words, which again are to do with the spelling list. And we've also got beekeeper, which is very similar to hangman based on this list. So I'll just show you what it looks like when they practice their spellings. So they have different levels that they can use here. Easy shows you the words. It reads the words out. It's very similar to look, write, check in the traditional sense.
Knight.
So you can see the word.
In a man wearing armor. And
it gives you the exact correct tiles that you have to put in order. Then the next level up, medium, is the same but without showing the words, so it'll have the correct tiles. Hard will be the correct tiles plus a couple more to sort of check their understanding. And extreme is the whole keyboard.
No.
So that's what it will look like.
Knit, as in with wool.
Now, depending on your year group and the ability of your children, you can also use our phonics lists. Now, this means with my keyboard that I had in my game there, instead of reading out the letter names or having the letters on individual tiles, they'll be on tiles based on their GPCs within that word. So you've got the option to use our phonics lists if you want to. You can also create your own word lists if that's something that you would like to do. You can also share it with other teachers within your school. So maybe it's based on a science topic that you're doing or a particular word list that you need for particular pupils. I'll just quickly see if we've got any questions. Now, end of term assessments for spellings for each year group. There are not end of term assessments for the spellings at the moment, no. And someone else has also said in the email introducing this webinar, it said there's a new spelling shed scheme. So does that mean the words in each year group have changed? They haven't yet. What we've got at the moment and what we will have for a while is we'll keep our old spelling scheme, and we'll also show you the new spelling scheme, and it can be there for you to choose, because I know lots of people are used to using what we've got on our website and like our lessons as they are, so that's fine. What I'll show you now very quickly is what the new spelling scheme looks like. At the moment on our website, we only have this for year 6. The rest will all be ready in September. We've just put it as a preview to see what people think. So if you go on to resources where we were earlier, and then if we scroll down, you can see Spelling Shed 2022 preview. So as I mentioned before, this has not interrupted the current scheme or word list at all. So if we click on there, you'll be able to see it here. Now, the idea of our new scheme is that we look at where the word has come from, so the etymology of certain words. And also each of them come with a detailed lesson plan, worksheets, as well as the PowerPoint. So in the PowerPoint that we currently have, we do have a brief outline of how to teach the lesson, but this one, as you can see here, is a lot more detailed. So all of them have got the same structure. We've got revise, the introduction, so introducing the word, the main teaching inputs, and then independent activities, which if you want to, you can set for homework. Now, this is designed as an hour weekly spelling lesson, but I know that as well, some teachers would rather do daily short bursts, so you can also adapt it to do that. I'll just show you the PowerPoint now. The worksheets are just worksheet versions of the activities within the PowerPoint. So this is all free for you to go and have a look at. So this is what they look like. It's just taking a little bit to load. So they all start with sort of a recap and then bring in teaching. And we've also got some notes underneath here. So looking at really what these words mean and where they have come from. So for example, the word muscle and the etymology of that word, as well as using things such as our phonics knowledge in certain words. That doesn't necessarily go with these ones because they're not they're not a particular spelling rule. Let me have a look and show you from current slide. So looking as well at things like syllables within a word and how we can use syllables to help us with our spelling. So it really builds on existing knowledge and using that and applying that when learning new spellings. There we go. And also we've got these different icons that suggest what's for a whole group activity and what's for an independent activity. So all of these, this whole new scheme, as I mentioned before, it's only available to for year 6. But if you want to go and have a look, and there we go. So we're looking at phonemes again here. And let us know what you think, or just go and see if anything could be useful for you to use at the moment in class. It's all there for you. Now, we also have other things called challenges and leagues, and these are just extra motivational tools. So challenges are competitions you can set up between classes on a particular spelling list. Here's one that I'd set up before on the year 1 and 2 full list, and I've set that for all my year 2 and year 1 classes. Leagues, you can see how pupils are getting on, and these are based on something called the SPaG score, which is the rolling score of the last 7 days. So if today, which is Wednesday, this will be the score of this pupil and what they've earned between today and last Thursday, and then tomorrow it will change. So it's a really nice snapshot score, and it can mean it goes down as well as up to make it a little bit more exciting. And it doesn't mean that those pupils that are always on it will necessarily win every single week if you're doing certificates and things like that. Now, the other thing as well to show, one of our final things, and then I'll just answer any questions that we've got, is if you have Literacy Shed, we also have some new grammar resources coming to that as well. Year 5 and 6 is there at the moment, and I know that they're working on year 4 at the moment and working their way down. But if you want to have a look at these, if you've already got a Literacy Shed Plus subscription, this can also be really useful. So if I click on 9 to 11, there we go. And then we've got an extra thing called grammar there. And these are sort of comprehension activities with worksheets that go with them. So if we look on a World War II one. So this is another really useful grammar resource that you can use. So we've got a bit of a comprehension there, and then grammar questions underneath based on that comprehension text. So hopefully that's given you a good insight briefly on how our Spelling Shed subscriptions can help you with spelling, punctuation and grammar within the classroom. So setting work for pupils and so on. I'm just going to quickly look now and see if we've got any questions. So yes, the new spelling scheme does explore morphology and etymology. Someone's also said, does the new spelling scheme have assignments linked still for the children? It will do in September. It doesn't at the moment. Someone said, please can you explain how to set up competitions between different year groups? Now, you can do this. There's also a way to do that on our YouTube channel. We've got loads of tutorials on how to do that. But very quickly, if I go to the challenges section, someone said, will the grammar be available with our current subscription? Yes. So our SPaG resources are available within your Spelling Shed subscription. And then with Literacy Shed, all the new grammar resources will be available with your current subscription. So if we quickly go to challenges and then create new challenge, give it a title, say whether you've got Spelling Shed, what you want the challenge to be based on, whether it's the amount of games played, correct answers or points earned, and whenever you want the challenge to end. Then select the list that you want to have on your challenge. You can select from a list you've created or one from our scheme. Let's go for the full, and then you can add players. So here you can decide whether you want it to be between particular individuals or whether you want it to be between classes, and you simply just select your groups there and click create challenge. And that's how you do that. And then let's just check our Q&A. Okay, I think at the moment I've answered all the questions. If you have any other questions after this, feel free to email support@edshed.com and you'll get through to our support team. The final thing that I was going to give you an insight into is Hive games. Now, pupils can do this within their logins with their friends. So I'll just quickly show you, and this is also our EdShed YouTube site, which has got loads of tutorials if you're not sure on what to do. But if I just zoom forward and show you what a Hive game looks like. So the idea with this is for it to replace a traditional spelling test at the end of the week if pupils have got a device each. So if I skip forward and then we can quickly look. So this is what it will look like from a teacher's perspective on the left and then the pupil on the right. So they input a code and then you can see whether they've joined and then you can start it and it will read out the spelling. On the left-hand side is the teacher screen, so the child wouldn't be able to see that. And then they input the spelling and you can see if you've got it right or wrong. And then at the end of the Hive game, the teacher will get a report like this with all the pupils that have participated. So you can see who's got how many correct and which words they got incorrect. So that is a Hive game, and pupils can do that in little groups as well, sort of to compete against each other. So as I said, if you've got any other questions, feel free to email support. But otherwise, I will end that there and I will send out a recording for you. So thank you so much.